My wife was faking her death in that hospital bed, and I walked straight up and slapped her twice across the face. Then I called the organ donation department and told them I wanted to make a donation free of charge. In my past life, I was too busy falling apart to think straight. I drank the water my wife's best friend handed me and passed out for 3 days. By the time I woke up, my wife had already been cremated. I barely had time to grieve before the debt collectors showed up at my door. That was when I found out my wife had racked up millions in debt before she supposedly died. They took both my kidneys and forced me to work around the clock every single day just to pay it off. In just 10 years, I looked like I was pushing 90. And that's when my wife, who had been dead for 10 years, showed up hugging her lover. She pulled up next to me in a fancy car, smiled, and tossed $100 at me. She said it was her way of thanking me for everything, and I just couldn't take it anymore. I dropped dead right then and there, and when I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day my wife had her heart attack, staring at her lying under a white sheet. I laughed to myself because if she wanted to die so badly, I was more than happy to help her out. Her best friend Mandy kept pushing me to drink some water. I snapped back to reality and looked at her, because last time I drank that water I blacked out. I was almost 100% sure that water was laced with something. The whole point was to make me miss Lisa being cremated, so I set the cup down. I brushed past Mandy before she could stop me, and walked over to Lisa's bed. I pulled back the sheet and Lisa's face looked perfectly healthy. Her breathing was calm and steady. I was just too heartbroken and too dumb last time. Too naive to see what was right in front of me. I raised my hand and slapped Lisa hard across the face. Lisa didn't flinch at all, which told me she was probably too scared of getting caught. So she went ahead and shot herself up with anesthetic. Mandy let out a scream, thinking I had figured out that Lisa was faking it, and yelled, "Brother-in-law, you can't just beat on her like that, even if you're upset." I started going to town on Lisa, and I could tell Mandy was about to crack. So I switched it up and started sobbing like a broken man, telling Lisa I always told you to stop pulling all-nighters. I begged you to go get a checkup. Why didn't you just listen to me? How am I supposed to go on without you? Mandy swallowed hard and just stood there completely frozen. I didn't feel like dealing with her, so I pulled out my phone and made a call. "Yeah, hi, I need to arrange an organ donation. My wife just passed. Can you get someone over here soon?" Mandy tried to say something, but she couldn't given the situation, so she grabbed her phone and frantically fired off a text. The people from the organ donation office showed up within minutes, and I put on my most devastated face. My wife was such a kind and generous person, and this was totally unexpected. I want her life to live on and hopefully help as many people as possible. Sir, that is incredibly noble of you, and on behalf of all those families, thank you. What organs are you looking to donate? I let out a long sigh and said, "She passed from a sudden heart attack, so I honestly don't know what organs are still usable."
Just go ahead and take a look and see what works.
"Whatever is good, you can take it. And if nothing is usable, then donate the body to a medical school for research." Whoa, hold on. Brother-in-law Lisa never wanted to donate her organs. She told me that herself. We have to respect her wishes, Mandy. I am Lisa's husband, and I have the authority to make this call. You and Lisa were just close friends with no blood relation, so who do you think gets to decide here? I think you already know the answer to that. And on top of that, every minute you stall is another minute the organs are deteriorating, and you are a doctor yourself. Don't you care about saving lives? The staff member from the donation office chimed in. "That's right, Dr. Wang, please step aside." There was no way Mandy was stepping aside. She was bouncing off the walls. "I already called her mom, and you have to at least let her say goodbye to Lisa one last time." Lisa's mother, Diane, came rushing in with her perm rollers still in her hair. Looked like she had been in the middle of getting her hair done. When she saw Lisa still intact on the bed, she exhaled in relief. Then she immediately turned around and slapped me across the face, screaming, "What is wrong with you, Lisa? Marrying you was the biggest mistake of her life, and now my daughter is dead because of you. And you have the nerve to want to cut her open if anyone lays a single finger on my daughter. I will destroy their whole family. Nobody is donating anything. Go find someone else to mess with." The donation staff were disappointed, but there was nothing they could do, so they packed up and left. Mandy finally let out a breath. Then she picked up the sheet and covered Lisa back up. Diane dropped onto the couch nearby and started going off on me again. "You worthless piece of garbage. Your own wife dies, and instead of grieving, you don't even think about cremating her properly. What is all this nonsense about donating her body to science? You want my daughter to be cut up into pieces. You think you're so great. Then go donate yourself. Go ahead and drop dead right now. You'll make sure they donate every single piece of you." I covered my face and let out a heavy sigh. "Mom, I am so sorry. I was wrong. I just wanted to, and don't even say it. Get out of my sight right now. I am taking my daughter to the crematorium myself." I immediately shut up and meekly handed Diane the water Mandy had brought for me earlier. Diane didn't think twice about it, and after all the yelling and the stress, her throat was bone dry, so she downed the whole thing before Mandy could even react. Not even 2 minutes after she finished the water, Diane was out cold. The cold sweat Mandy had just wiped off came right back, and she started stammering. "Brother-in-law, you aren't thinking about donating her organs too, are you?" I shook my head. I laid Diane flat on the couch and said of course not. Mom herself said no, so naturally I am not going to push it any further. Mandy relaxed a little but then said, "Aunt Diane fainting out of nowhere doesn't seem good. You should rush her to the ER and let me handle the arrangements for Lisa's cremation." I looked at her with a half smile and said, "I don't think so. You are the doctor, so you should be the one taking care of the patient. And I am Lisa's husband, so it makes way more sense for me to handle the cremation. Wouldn't you agree with that?" I called the crematorium directly and told them to get over here right away. Mandy was completely losing it. She kept desperately trying to wake Diane up, but no matter how hard she shook her, Diane was out like a light. By the time the crematorium staff wheeled Lisa away, Mandy finally snapped and grabbed my sleeve. Her voice was cracking as she said, "Brother-in-law, I think I just saw Lisa move. I feel like there might still be a chance to save her." I pulled out the death certificate and shoved it in her face. Mandy, think very carefully before you say anything. If Lisa is actually alive right now, then what kind of liability does your hospital face? And what kind of responsibility do you personally have to answer for? That is called murder. That is called criminal negligence. I do not know if the hospital stays open, but I do know you are going to prison. So think long and hard. Did you really see Lisa move? Mandy was a complete mess.